So I'm 4 generations here. To me, those are mountains. But every time we host folks from the Midwest and areas with large mountain ranges, they laugh at me. So I guess I would call these hills to some people.
Well, I think they look rugged like mountains.
Yes,
you know?
I think they're fitting if you've ever seen or enjoyed a Western movie. So not our field out here, but the neighbors have some transplants in. And then on our right over here, we've got a 6-line romaine crop that we just fired up yesterday to start germinating. This time of year, we know that it's going to take a good 5 to 6 days to see a solid stand.
Okay, so you called it 6-line. Is that because there's 6 in the bed?
Exactly.
All right.
So our lettuces that we plant are either on 42-inch beds or 84-inch beds. And our big beds will have 6 lines. Our small beds will have either 2 lines or 3 lines.
Wow.
And the field that we'll be coming up to is a month earlier, so you'll be able to see the comparison of what we hope this field will look like. Hope.
In the near future? Like in a month?
Can't be too presumptuous in farming. And so this lettuce, we hope, will be off for harvest about the 1st to 2nd week of November.
So how fast does lettuce go from your field to somebody's plate?
You're looking at probably 4 to 6 days, give or take, depending.
That's pretty fast.
Yeah, sometimes it may be within that 2 to 3 day mark, but yeah, our area.
It also depends on how far it's going, right?
Exactly where they've contracted. We've got reservation land, state land, and private. And every bit of the soil varies. Some of it's real sandy, some of it's not.
So how much of the land do you lease versus how much do you own?
We lease just probably about 55-60% of the land that we farm.
Yeah. So how did you get into photography?
Ever since I was a kid, I would carry a camera with me everywhere. And that was in the days of the Polaroid. Being able to shake it like a Polaroid. Loved that, being able to take a picture and immediately see what I captured.
Yeah.
And more often than not, I would mess up when I was shooting, which actually intrigued me because there were times that I would have double exposure on a picture.
Oh, I loved those.
Trying one of my memories that really started to kind of pique my interest when I was a kid, I tried to take a picture of a hot air balloon flying over one of the lettuce fields, and I
inadvertently... Is this like broccoli or something?
Yes, that's a cauliflower here on the left side, the single line. But yeah, I accidentally had double exposure over a lettuce field with the hot air balloon and then a tractor on the next picture I took, and they were blended. And I just thought, how cool is that you can do this and you can capture memories. And so for my whole life, I've carried cameras around and just enjoy capturing moments for other people too, not just myself. And then fast forward to a few years ago when my grandmother passed away. My late grandfather passed away when I was a teenager, but it wasn't until a few years ago that I really grasped his passion for photography. I have memories of some pictures in his dark room, but unfortunately not many.
Yeah.
And I was helping clean out their attic and found a box that said Grandpa's cameras, and found a handful of old cameras that he used to shoot when he was a photographer in the Air Force.
Oh my gosh.
And it just lit my heart up, and I thought there's a reason inside of me as to why I love to do this. And so it kind of gave me a little extra spark over these last few years, and I started to utilize social media more just to share pictures of farming, because more often than not, somebody can always find a problem with the picture, but more often than not, it sparks a good discussion that people share memories that they have when they see a picture, and then they say, that reminds me of a time I was at my grandpa's farm or growing up as a kid. And I love that more than anything, and it's been a good experience so far.
Oh look, there's cotton. They've already harvested, but yeah.
This is the University of Arizona Cooperative Extension, and a lot of this will be experimental. They do a wonderful garden that they're starting to work on already, that they will sell. They will work with the Yuma Visitors Bureau, who will sell tickets. And more often than not, the buses are full of winter visitors because Yuma will darn near double in population in the winter months from people coming from the cold areas. And
like
they'll load up a bus.
Working on the water.
Yeah. They'll load up a bus. They'll come out to the farm here, and then every tour will have a farmer from the area come out, talk to them as they get to harvest out of the garden. And then they'll put their garden items on the bus, or excuse me, in somebody else's vehicle that takes them to the college, Arizona Western College, where the culinary program will prepare their lunch with all the items that they picked, while the farmer then takes the bus with the group and we tour the valley and get to teach them about what we do and the good, bad, and the ugly. And it's such a neat opportunity to
How do you sign up for that?
The Yuma Visitors Bureau is on social media, Instagram, Facebook.
All right.
I don't know the website off the top of my hand.
No, that's okay.
Head, but they are selling tickets now. But normally those tours go through February, I believe.
Wow.
Our agritourism has really stepped up. This was our first planting, and we had our germ water on the 10th of September, and we're hoping to harvest it by the 7th of November. So we are...
Can I get out and take pictures if I promise, not to get into it?
Absolutely. Yeah, next week we'll be looking to side dress this field, where we'll come in with what is called a bola, and it will shape the furrow again, kind of like the big beds. But that shaping will be a lot deeper at about 9.5, 10 inches.
Yeah.
So we can furrow water this field and irrigate it to where the water will be pushed in. The knives on the side dresser will come in kind of like this, and it will actually inject a nitrogen down into the soil.
You wouldn't want to put fertilizer actually on the lettuce. What you want it to do is to get down to the roots of the lettuce.
At this stage, correct. Yeah, if we can, better to inject it right there by the root zone. And you'll see a lot of these roots are already starting to grow really well. So the roots are already starting to expand towards the edge, which is what we want.
So how many?
Everything we do here is all about moisture. Every decision we make is based off of moisture, when we can get in here and when we can't. If they thin the field, we normally plant a field with extra seed, not to the stand.
Yeah.
And so they'll remove it. But if it's too hard when they come and thin it, it'll actually take the good plants we want to keep in here. And so we focus on the moisture all the way through harvest time, including the side dressing. And so hoping middle end of next week it'll be dry enough for us to be able to get in here and maintain moisture, but also reshape the furrows and get rid of the weeds. Yeah.
Wow, it's a lot of lettuce.
It is. Yeah. We typically would try to shoot for that 750 to 900 carton an acre of harvest.
All right, so a carton has how many heads?
That'll vary. 24, 16.
Okay.
It varies based off of the size and the weight.
Yeah.
Usually you're looking for the weight. It doesn't necessarily mean it's better if it's a gigantic head. You want a uniform head of lettuce, and you want to make sure that it doesn't cup too early. Cupping is here when you look down inside. I'll get out of the shadow. When you look down inside here where it's still open, that's great. If we stress it too much and make it look for that moisture where the roots have to dive too deep, it will actually begin to cup. And once it does that, you start
cutting off the ability to grow on the inside. Is that it?
That's exactly right. You basically start the clock to harvest. So the longer you can maintain it open and not starting to cup like that little one right there. So we want to make sure we don't stress that crop or that plant. And so we want to time it just right, where we've allowed the roots to establish but not work too hard, especially with early head lettuce, because once the plant starts to seal over, that means the timer's on to harvest, and that's about, you're limited about as far as you'll be able to grow. Whereas if something hasn't cupped yet, and it's still growing, and then it meets, you'll have a real nice head lettuce.
Yeah. So lettuce grows from like the inside of the head is
Mhm.
the newest.
Exactly.
Right. So the outside is the
Yeah.
oldest.
Absolutely.
It doesn't really look like head lettuce yet because it's too young, right?
Yeah. And it's hard, having cameras in a field with weeds, but I try to share that on social media. We joke, but too often we share what we believe the perfection on social media. And we
Well, I love the fact that you immediately took the knife out and started digging up weeds. So it's like
my
your
dad
natural.
and I have this joke when we'll walk a field and we'll start cutting out the weeds and go, okay, do you want me to come back for you tomorrow? Because it's going to take you a day. It's
You're not going to get them all done.
weeds and trash, and I find myself doing it at other people's homes, sidewalks. When I'm walking the kids out to the car after school, I find myself picking up trash. Not because I'm some wonderful person, but because it's been drilled
You're so
into me
used to having to do
that
it in the field.
we don't want weeds and we don't want trash. So this time of year, this is the one time you'll see weeds out in a lettuce
And
field.
really the weeds are there. The reason you don't want them there is because they take away the water, the nutrients.
You don't want them to go to seed.
They also let bugs come in or
Exactly. You'll look the neighbors across the way. This is exactly what we'll hope to look like the end of next week when we have the furrows repacked, and it'll come in and the knives will get rid of all the weeds that are left.
Yeah. I haven't looked at a salad bowl quite the same way since I got home from Arizona, and appreciate Jonathan showing me around and spending so much time with me. For those of you who found us on a video channel or social media, you may want to check out our podcast, Grounded by the Farm. It should be in your favorite app, but if not, go ahead and look at our website, groundedbythefarm.com. It includes the podcast, includes videos like this, and many other things that come as we look at these food conversations with farmers.